guess you guys are familiar with the Georgia Education Coalition. They basically are an organization that was formed that consists of nine current systems, and hoping to get others to join. They're basically large and growing systems. They're mainly concentrated right now in the Metro Atlanta area. They include systems such as Cherokee, Cobb, Coweta, Fayette, Fulton, Gwinnett, Henry, and Savannah is a member of this. And combined we educate about 30% of the students in the state of Georgia in public school. And the purpose of the Georgia Education Coalition is to represent those school districts have similar concerns due to the makeup of our population, the large and growing populations that we represent here. And basically, this group was formed, was it about 2 years ago, I think now? And we've basically been meeting and discussing our platform and concerns to present to the state legislature each year. And of course, the speaker's great plan is of utmost importance is a main focus and of utmost importance to the Georgia Education Coalition right now. And in response to that, the GEC has put together basically a platform. Melinda, I don't know if you want to describe it any better way than that, John, but basically a platform to represent our interest on our concerns about the potential loss of funding for each of the member districts within the GEC. That, as we understand the bill right now, I understand the bill has just been introduced, and I know we've got copies of it. I don't know if any of us have had a chance. I know I haven't had a chance to go through it in detail, but I know that we'll get an analysis and a good write-up from both probably our legal counsel and also from our Georgia School Boards and also the Georgia Superintendents Association. But I think the main concern that we want to express right now, and you've got a copy of the press release, is that we basically through the years have been receiving a smaller and smaller share of our funding from the state. As you know, it's never enough to do everything we need to do, and we've had austerity reductions. I know you guys feel like we probably sound like a broken record, but the austerity reductions over the last several years have cost us, Laura, how much do you know? Do you know what the total is?
To date, it's almost $20 million.
Almost $20 million, and that's money we're realistic. We're never going to get that money back. But it just shows what the state, only paying half of our kids' education, have done to us. Now, what we're concerned about is we're not against. Let me make sure we're not against tax reform. But what we're concerned about is anything that takes away our ability to deliver the level of education that our school children in Fayette County really deserve and have come to expect. That is our main, initiative here is to continue to be able to provide the funding for the programs that go above and beyond what the state gives us. They don't give us enough money, for instance, to offer parapros, all the parapros, the nurses, the counselors, all of those kinds of things that our constituents look to us to provide, and that's why they live here. Can you imagine us having to cut our fine arts programs? You guys know what a strong fine arts program Fayette County has. I can't tell you how many nominees we have for Governor's Honors Program. I was just looking at the list, and we have tons of music and dance and drama, just known for our commitment to the fine arts. Well, all that is going to be a jeopardy if you put the money completely in the hands of the state legislature, and we don't have any say-so on how it's spent. Or we may have say-so on how it's spent, but there may not be enough to go around, if that makes sense. So, what else and another thing is real tricky about this is the bond situation, and Laura may want to talk more about that. We're indebted almost $200 million in bonds for over 20 years. Well, this great plan, the way I understand it right now, proposes that they continue the taxing, property taxes for the bonds, but it takes away from our operating fund. So in essence, taxpayer, you as a taxpayer, anybody as a taxpayer in Georgia that owns a home will have two forms of taxation now. You'll be continuing to pay property taxes to relieve your bond, to relieve the bond debt that we have. Then you also get an increased sales tax. This seems counter, this seems counter to what they're trying to do with this proposal. Another important thing personally that I've thought about is, for all those that itemize their tax returns, you're going to lose a big property tax. You're going to lose a big itemized deduction, property taxes. That's probably everybody's biggest property tax deduction right now. I'm not sure how much that has come out in the other media. So I know here in Fayette County that's probably a big tax deduction for a lot of folks.
And Lee, I don't mean to interrupt you, but what about the seniors?
Of the senior citizens.
Mm-hmm.
The senior citizens, they already have an exemption for school tax. So now what they're going to do is they're going to be replaced. They're going to have a tax put back on them in the form of sales tax. Mm-hmm. And as we all know, sales tax is the most regressive form of tax there is out there. So it is going to hit the seniors the hardest. It's going to hit people on fixed incomes the hardest. It's basically going to be It's going to hit a group of citizens that are not equipped to pay for it today.
And I haven't read the Richardson's plan yet, or the bill, but does he have something along the lines that the fair tax has, where they do like a prebate for?
I think on groceries they have a
groceries.
small amount, but the problem with that only assumes that you file an income tax return. There are so many Georgia citizens who, because they're elderly or just they're in a wrong income tax bracket, they don't file a return. And that means if you don't file a return, you get nothing back. So you're hit harder than, And another thing, we don't have it in this county, but there's a lot of counties where there are a great number of renters.
Yeah.
Just because the property tax, actually I think now they're saying property tax won't go away on investment properties.
Investment property.
So those renters, their rent payments won't be affected. It won't go down at all for this.
Right.
The cost of living will be the same.
Right. And I'm not sure whether all the big property owners realize that part of the plan or not. Because there are a lot of the ones that I think that were initiative, the impetus behind this.
Right.
The other thing is we don't have a SPLOST, as you know, in Fayette County, but I would think that's gonna severely limit the renewal of those counties that do have SPLOST, or if Fayette County were want to offer a SPLOST in a future date, it may make it more challenging for us to offer a SPLOST. That's sort of a side, not a side note, but that's a good point. What else to say about it? The way I understand it too, it's not directly affecting us, but new services would be taxed as well, like hairdressers, landscaping, accounting firms, all those kinds of service. Doctors
visits. Also,
laundries, dry cleaners.
Also now pharmacy, your prescription medical will be taxed as well. And that's we talk about how bad health care is hurting people now with the cost of it. You're just adding an additional cost, and people just can't